In an era where efficiency and transparency are the hallmarks of good governance, one might wonder, are the public sector reforms in Pakistan keeping pace with the global standards? Indeed, it is a question that has been buzzing around in the corridors of power and the streets of Pakistan alike. For a country that has been grappling with economic instability, social unrest, and a need for accountable governance, public sector reforms have emerged as a beacon of hope. Let's take a brief look at what these public sector reforms entail. They have been designed to improve the performance of public organizations, enhance transparency in decision-making processes, and ensure the accountable use of public resources. In essence, they are aimed at fortifying the pillars of democracy and governance in Pakistan. The Institute of Policy Studies, a leading think tank in Pakistan, has been instrumental in contributing to these reforms. Its research and policy recommendations have played a crucial role in shaping many of these initiatives. In recent years, Pakistan has been in the throes of an economic crisis, necessitating urgent reforms in the public sector. The International Monetary Fund's conditional loan of $3 billion to Pakistan in July 2023 underscored the urgent need for fiscal discipline and economic reforms. However, these reforms are not just about economic stability. They are also about social development, improving the delivery of public services, eliminating corruption, and promoting good governance are all intertwined with the broader goal of social progress. So, are these reforms mere window dressing, or do they have the potential to bring about a significant change? That's the million-dollar question. And as we delve deeper into this subject, we will attempt to unravel the answers. For now, let's keep in mind that any reform, no matter how well-intentioned, is only as good as its implementation. The willingness of the political elite to drive these changes and the capacity of public institutions to absorb them will be the real game changers. As we delve deeper into this topic, we'll explore whether these reforms are mere window dressing or if they hold the potential to bring about meaningful change. Before we delve into the specifics, it's important to understand why these reforms are needed in the first place. Let's start with a broad view. Pakistan's public sector has been grappling with a set of challenges that have hindered its efficiency and performance. These challenges, as reported by the Institute of Policy Studies in Pakistan and highlighted in Jahangir World Times, include issues of corruption, inefficiency, and a lack of transparency. Corruption is a pervasive problem, seeping its way into all levels of the public sector. It undermines the legitimacy of government institutions and impedes economic growth. It's not just about money changing hands under the table. It's about the misuse of power and authority, resulting in unfair outcomes and a lack of trust in public institutions. Then, we have inefficiency. This is often reflected in the slow, bureaucratic processes that make it difficult for the public sector to respond to the needs of the citizens swiftly and effectively. There's a dire need to streamline these processes to make the public sector more agile and responsive. Transparency, or rather the lack of it, is another significant issue. Without transparency, citizens cannot hold their government accountable, and without accountability, it's hard to ensure that the public sector is working in the best interests of the people. But these aren't just abstract concepts. They have real impacts. Think about the billions of dollars in loans from the International Monetary Fund, conditional on austerity measures including tax hikes and spending cuts. This is a response to a crisis that has been exacerbated by these very issues of corruption, inefficiency, and lack of transparency. And it's not just about the money, it's about the lives affected by these issues. It's about the farmer who can't irrigate his fields due to water shortages, the family that can't afford to pay their electricity bill due to high inflation, and the young professional who leaves the country in search of better opportunities. These challenges underscore the pressing need for comprehensive and effective public sector reforms. So, what has been the response to these challenges? Let's look at some of the recent public sector reforms. In the face of economic turmoil, Pakistan has taken significant strides to reform its public sector. One of the most notable of these is the conditional $3 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. This loan comes with strict austerity measures, including tax hikes and spending cuts, aimed at addressing the economic crisis at hand. But this is more than just a financial band-aid. It's a catalyst for change, driving reforms that address deeper structural issues within the economy. These reforms are wide-ranging, targeting everything from financial mismanagement to the global energy crisis and even catastrophic floods. The government has been forced to reckon with its reliance on costly fuel imports, water and energy shortages in the agricultural sector, lack of investment in public welfare and corruption. But what has been the impact of these reforms so far? Well, the IMF loan has provided short-term relief and unlocked credit from other financiers. This has allowed the government to make significant debt repayments and has provided a much-needed financial breather. However, the real value of these reforms lies in their potential to address the long-standing structural issues within the economy. For instance, the government's focus on reducing its reliance on costly fuel imports could pave the way for a more sustainable energy sector. Similarly, addressing water and energy shortages in the agricultural sector could boost productivity and make the sector more resilient to future shocks. Yet there's still a lot of work to do. Despite these reforms, Pakistan continues to grapple with high inflation and emigration. Additionally, the austerity measures tied to the IMF loan have been a source of controversy and pushback, raising questions about their long-term feasibility. While these reforms have shown promise, the question remains, are they enough to bring about the desired change? Now that we've evaluated the current state of reforms, what does the future hold for Pakistan's public sector? Looking forward, the public sector in Pakistan has a number of areas that require improvement. While the recent International Monetary Fund loan has provided some temporary relief, it is clear that long-term structural reforms are vital for sustainable growth. Firstly, tackling the issue of financial mismanagement is critical. This means instilling a culture of transparency, accountability, and efficiency. The government must strive to streamline the public sector, eliminating wasteful practices and promoting fiscal responsibility. Secondly, addressing the energy crisis is a top priority. Pakistan's reliance on costly fuel imports is unsustainable. The country needs to invest in renewable energy sources and improve its energy infrastructure. This will not only reduce costs, but also make Pakistan more environmentally friendly. Thirdly, the agricultural sector, a cornerstone of Pakistan's economy, also requires attention. The sector is plagued by water and energy shortages, which severely hamper productivity. Investments in modern irrigation methods, renewable energy solutions, and farmer education can help combat these issues. Lastly, there is a need for reforms in public welfare. The government must ensure that social safety nets are effective and that public funds are directed towards sectors like health and education. Implementing these reforms will not be easy. It requires the political will to make tough decisions and the commitment to see them through. However, the data suggests that these reforms are not just necessary but urgent. Reports from think tanks like the Institute of Policy Studies in Pakistan and insights gleaned from publications like Jahangir World Times underscore this urgency. In the end, the road to reform is a long one. It will require patience, dedication, and a willingness to adapt. But the potential rewards are significant. A more efficient, transparent, and sustainable public sector can drive economic growth, improve the lives of citizens, and secure a brighter future for Pakistan. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but with the right reforms, Pakistan's public sector has the potential to overcome these hurdles. As we come to the end of our discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. In our journey through the world of public sector reforms, we've explored how these changes are not just a mirage, but a tangible reality that Pakistan needs to grapple with. The necessity for reform is driven by the significant challenges that the public sector currently faces, including financial mismanagement, energy crises, and the impacts of disasters such as catastrophic floods. We've also delved into the evaluation of recent reform efforts. While there have been strides made, it's clear that there is still much work to be done. The $3 billion conditional loan from the International Monetary Fund is a testament to this, providing short-term relief but highlighting the need for long-term structural changes. The road ahead is not a smooth one. It involves tackling issues such as reliance on costly fuel imports, water and energy shortages in the agricultural sector, lack of investment in public welfare, and corruption. The willingness of the political elite to implement these reforms will indeed be crucial. Let's not forget the wealth of resources at our disposal. From recent reports, magazines, newsletters, government platforms, Jahangir World Times, to think tanks like IPRI Pakistan, these provide valuable insights and data that can guide these reform efforts. In conclusion, public sector reforms are not just a necessity, but a pressing need that, if addressed effectively, can bring about profound changes to Pakistan's economy and the lives of its people. This journey is undoubtedly long and arduous, but as we've seen, the potential benefits are too significant to ignore. While the journey towards a reformed public sector may be long and arduous, the potential benefits for Pakistan's economy and its people make it a worthwhile endeavor.